So, today I'm at Badaling Great Wall. It's the Great Wall of China, just north of Beijing. You can see that I have the right hat on for it today, my Great Wall hat. And I thought that this would be a really good spot to talk about some of the different uses of walls. And you might think that that's kind of a funny statement, uses of walls. Well, obviously, it's obvious what a wall is for, but there's really more than one use. Walls have military purposes, walls have cultural purposes, walls even have economic purposes. Now, military is probably the most obvious, the easiest to understand. A wall keeps your enemies out. China has been building walls, great and otherwise, for thousands of years to keep out enemies from the Xiongnu, the Khitan, the Jurchen, the Mongolians, and the Manchu. This specific part of the wall right here, this was built in the early to mid Ming Dynasty, and it had a couple purposes. At the beginning, it was meant to keep the Mongolians out. Of course, the Ming Dynasty had pushed the Mongolians out of China, ended the Yuan Dynasty. They didn't want them to come back. But then near the end of the Ming Dynasty, these walls became very important to keep out the Manchu, who were a different nomadic group living up to the north. But where the Mongolians were in the northwest, the Manchu were in the northeast. But still, keeping the capital safe was of paramount importance. So these walls did have a really important military value, trying to keep out their enemies and protect the capital city of Beijing. Today, this wall, the Badaling Great Wall, its primary purpose is tourist attraction. That's really all it does. Most of the time when we think of the purpose of a wall, like the Great Wall, we think about its purpose of keeping people out. But walls also serve another very important historical purpose. They create a border. They create a sense of in and out. And there's two excellent examples throughout history. One, right here in China, was Qin Shi Huang. He founded the Qin dynasty and unified the country in 221 BCE. Though he did not have anything to do with building this specific wall, he did build a lot of walls around the perimeter. Before that, walls were built between states. Qin Shi Huang had walls built at the border, at the outside of states, creating a sense of what is inside, hence is China, and what is outside, not China. And a really interesting place we see this is in the character Guo. So the Chinese name for China is Zhongguo, which means middle kingdom. And Guo, this character right here, if you look at it, in the center, this one line with the three lines through it, that's the symbol that means king. It can be read as Wang. You have the little symbol right there. Now that's the king's stuff. That's all of his possessions. And, you know, depending on your philosophy of history, you could say that his possessions are his weapons, his military might, or they're even his people, if you want to think of it that way. And then outside you have the box. You have the, enclosing the king, you have a box. And that is a wall. What's inside with the king is part of that wall. It's part of that nation. It's part of that country. And what's outside is not. It's not part of that country. And so walls serve a very important purpose. Now, in a parallel to that, we sort of see that with Augustus and Hadrian and some of the Roman emperors who built a lot of walls and created more of a modern sense of what is a state. What is inside is part of Rome. What is outside? What is not part of Rome? So whether we're in East Asia or in the Mediterranean, walls serve this extremely important sort of proto-state purpose of creating an in-group and an out-group. Another purpose that walls serve throughout history is economics. Now, what does that mean exactly when we say that a wall has an economic purpose? Well, this wall specifically right here, this is up in the mountains. This is almost totally just military and defensive. But this Great Wall extends far into the Gobi Desert in Inner Mongolia and all the way to the ocean in the other direction. And some of those places are flatter and more accessible. not just enemy armies are moving around. You also have traders and nomads, and by building a wall, you can control where they can and cannot easily enter your territory. An enemy army that really wants to can knock down a wall, but a trading caravan, they don't have the intention or really the ability to sneak over a wall. They're going to pass through wherever you let them pass through. And by controlling where that trade caravan can enter your territory, you can ensure that they are going to be inspected, they're going to pay their tariffs, they're going to pay their bribes, as the case may be. So you get a lot more control over who's coming in and out of your territory, who is and is not trading in your territory, and the government makes sure that it's getting its cut of that money. So that's what we mean when we say that historically walls serve an economic purpose, because they can allow you to control economic access to your territory.
There's a guard tower put to a more modern use as a cell phone tower.
So there's one more purpose that I want to talk about when it comes to Great Walls and really any kind of mega scale architecture. And that's the value that it has to reputation. A dynasty, a government, an emperor is making a powerful statement when they build something at the scale of this Great Wall. They're saying that they're powerful, that they can control massive amounts of labor, amounts of resources, that they can almost change the topography of the land itself. Now, it's hard to tell right now, but this Badaling, this section of the Great Wall, is the most visited part of the Great Wall, period. Now, because of COVID restrictions, I have it pretty much to myself. I wish I'd brought some wax paper I could slide all the way home. It'd be great. But in non-COVID times, this is still serving a really valuable function for the Chinese government. The party, the Communist Party of China, I should say, has put signs all over the place telling you about, what year they restored this section and what year they restored that section and what they've done to restore this and that. And that's because this is still offering a lot of reputation. This is transmitting the grandeur, the power, the majesty, the mystery of Chinese culture. And that has a ton of value, because definitely when you stand here and look at this, you do think like, wow, this is impressive. This is world-class sort of stuff. So even still today, hundreds, thousands of years after these segments of the wall were first built, it's still serving a valuable function, that function of reputation. So yeah, I'm so lucky that I get to be here and enjoy it, not 100% covered in people, and it's really giving me an opportunity to appreciate just how impressive this place is.